What a lovely birthday present, even though it's 4 days after my birthday. Hi everyone, and welcome to the very last episode of Route X Lap Attack, at least for this version of Gran Turismo. We will continue the series in Gran Turismo 7 by restarting from scratch. The board will be completely clean, no cars will be tested on it, and we'll just continue seeing all the great variety in cars that Gran Turismo has to offer. To conclude this version, the Gran Turismo Sport version, we'll be using a special car dedicated to my friend and boss John Koch at Green Frog Productions, a Norfolk Southern Bugatti. Let's take the time to admire this black automobile and see if we can find the NS logo that I put on the doors. The interior looks pretty nice too. I like all those lines and buttons on the dash and steering wheel. I guess it's not going to show us. We'll take a look later unless... Here we go. So not entirely accurate to the Norfolk Southern logo, but I did the best I could with what space I had available. And I think it looks nice that way with the lines going that way on the door. And they move closer towards the center and then they just fade away. And you can't see where it ends except for that one on the top. I think that's pretty appropriate. Also, with the font that they have, there's only like one font for the letters, so also not much to work with. Regardless, I've driven this car several times, and while it's not as fast as I'd like it to be, it's still very good. It's time to get started. I remember in episode 2 of my Engines of Septa parody when I had the Norfolk Southern SD70M, I mentioned how it had 4 times the horsepower of a Bugatti, but it could only go 70 miles an hour. Could you imagine if locomotives with all that horsepower could go like 400 miles an hour? Of course, with horsepower, you either gotta have it go fast or use all that power to haul heavy loads, and of course, railroads, you want it to be the latter so you can get more money off of all the cargo you're carrying. I think Amtrak might be the only exception because they've got those ACS 64s with 8,600 horsepower, and they use that to try and make the locomotive go as fast as possible. But tractive effort's still pretty impressive at 72,000 pounds if I remember correctly. You can see that in another video I did. I got the stats of the ACS 64 while comparing it to the AEM 7. Downhill at over 250 miles an hour. Can we get to 253? I guess not. If I didn't test the Hurricane earlier years ago in this series, I know that this Bugatti would take the top spot. So I remember when I did the Hurricane, that was like the very first car to get to the top with a time of around 4.5 minutes. This is probably going to be a little bit longer at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. We want to try and stick here in the right side as close as possible to this barrier near the water so that we can continue around this curve at a very short distance. The banking does help too with the curving, but I like to try and get as close as I can to the right so that it doesn't have to spend more time in the curve. Passing the airplanes now. Wind turbines. You know, I actually saw a few of those in Atlantic City. And I don't know what it is, but I imagine Sir Topham Hatt from Tom's the Tank Engine looking at those, and he's like, "What the fuck? They're not supposed to be on this island. Get rid of them at once." I think it might have to do with Enterprising Engines 93. He did a video with a wind turbine years ago called Chivalry is Dead, where Bertram, a narrow gauge engine, deliberately derails to try and knock down the wind turbine. But unfortunately he fails. But I remember I actually got Matt, or Enterprising Engines 93 if you want to call him that instead of using his real name. I commented on this video and I said, you know, I really wish Bertram would have been able to knock that thing down. Of course, they also had him stop so that he would prevent himself from getting hurt. But at the same time, it would be nice to actually see him accomplish his goal. Matt actually agreed with me. He actually put down a laughing face, and he actually agreed with me. So maybe we'll get an alternate ending in the future. Who knows? A lot of satellites, too. So while I start the Route X Lab Attack series of Gran Turismo 7, while getting more videos from that game in general, I'm also going to be showing off footage from Gran Turismo 4. I found a copy of that game for my PS2 on Thanksgiving, but unfortunately the quality will not be as good as this video since I don't have any equipment to have the footage or record gameplay footage directly off the PS2. So I'll be filming the action from my camera pointed at the TV. Sorry, I had to burp. I'll use my camera to film footage from my TV. Good news though, we got a time of 4:34. Let's see how we did. The Veyron we tested in the previous episode has the fastest time of 4:12, finally knocking the Super down to second. But our Bugatti VGT is 14th, right below the Viper, which got 4:31. You know, I hope they add the Chiron in Gran Turismo 7, or at least get a few more variety in Bugattis, like the EB110. I know that's another popular one. And believe it or not, I got a Hot Wheels model of that, a 1994 EB110 in yellow. I'll show that to you if you guys are interested, but in the meantime, thank you for watching. I will see you in more videos from Gran Turismo 7.